You have no honor, and you are a slave to it.
Goosebumps. It's hard to fathom that it's been 5 years since the release of Ghost of Tsushima. 5 years and the gameplay is still class. The story, class. The graphics, class. Even though graphics are not my main focus, but almost outperforming every single game graphic-wise till this day is mind-blowing. And here we are, Ghost of Tsushima is releasing very soon. And for that reason, this video is dedicated to appreciate Ghost of Tsushima for one last time, before getting any bitterness from Ghost of Tsushima. Hopefully there's none though, because I would be mad if there's any, but Sucker Punch usually don't miss. Hopefully. Please don't, please. Exhibit A, the theme of the combat. The theme of the combat is grounded and lethally precise, with each strike not only deadly against your opponent, but might be deadly against you, so that you don't be bold to attack, but don't be scared to counter. It's true that the gameplay is bloody, messy, and violent, but within this violence, there is a weird sense of elegance.
Like something over there.
Is that because it has a technical element to it, even though I'm oblivious about fencing or sword fighting? But strikes seem technical. Strikes seem technical, like it moves in a seamless motion. Is that because it feels technical, or does it feel cinematic? The goal of the developers was to get the cleanest and the purest expression of the samurai cinema brought into the game with interactive experience, especially from the Karakawa's movies. For examples of those movies. Okay, that was hard. Okay. 1 second.
用心棒。
まったくバカにつける薬はねえな。何？
三十郎。
おめえたちの話聞いてるとまったく。
話を聞いた？こいつ嫌だ。
スロン・オブ・ブラッド。
権力の座。
But notably, it's based from the final scene of the movie Sanjuro, where two samurai stare each other down. You see, it's all about building tension. And that was illustrated perfectly into boss fights. Boss fights in Ghost are one of a kind. They are not compared to other games' boss fights. It's more of a 1v1 duel than a boss fight. There is no interruption with the outside environment. Your opponent doesn't have goons to fight with them. Even you can't use your ghost weapon against your opponent. It's just katana. The katana, the protagonist of the combat system. The most important element for getting the right feeling of attacks. And from the developer's view, to spot the right approach, you must nail the sharpness.
It will kill.
Because the katana's essence lies in its sharpness, the feel, the look, the impact. You can see sharpness in action. So the developers went with the concept of the less amount of hits it takes to finish an opponent, the sharper the blade is. Such a great concept that after breaking an enemy's guard, it takes a couple of slices to cut the enemy down, depending on how sharp your blade is.
Will kill.
Because that wouldn't make sense to hit the opponent multiple times, unnumbered amount of times to cut him down. That would have eliminated the element of sharpness and it wouldn't make sense. So rather than depending on the cumulative amount of hits to finish the opponent, it will be swapped with the quality of how the NPC will react while keeping the element of sharpness in order.
It will kill.
Thank you, sir.
Exhibit C. Stance. There's a realistic grounded element that I do like about stance, because stance as a concept is essential for martial arts. A representation that no matter how good your way of fighting is, or how effective your tactics are, effectiveness differs between the variety of enemies that you're gonna face. For example, let's take a realistic case. A fighter that uses a wide stance due to his height and reach, so it's effective against opponents that has lower height, lower reach than him. So it's effective. But using the same stance against someone that has the same height, same reach, if not longer, it wouldn't be as effective if he didn't even struggle. The same with Ghost. You can't use a stone stance against someone who's speared. Of course you can still kill them, but you will struggle, it will take longer, especially against speared opponents. You don't want to mess with them.
ごめん、あまない。俺は
But ultimately this means that a change of plans is needed, which in this case, stance. Now talking about heavy attacks. Heavy attacks in Ghost are not generic like other games. And what I mean by not generic is, heavy attacks do not have the same animation, but slower and has more damage. But in this game, not only heavy attacks got different animation, but within each stance has its own chain of attacks, therefore its own animation. And the animation of heavy attacks are so fluid, such flash animation makes you want to hammer the heavy attacks or spam the heavy attacks. But here's the twist. The developers knew how to balance the usage of heavy attacks by increasing the intelligence of the NPC and the high volume of enemies coming at you at once.
Fight back! Fight back! Fight back!
So you need to be proficient in its usage and know precisely when to deploy it. For example, there's cases where it's hard to use heavy attacks due to the speed and slipperiness of the opponent.
The nigga swung his body to the side.
So that you need to start with some setups, use some light attacks, and then come up with the heavy attacks. And there's other cases where you can already shoot with some heavy attacks to break an enemy's guard. But while breaking an enemy's guard, there's a sheer volume of enemies coming at you at once. There's an overlap of enemy attacks. While one enemy attacks, other can be winding up. But it's not similar to Souls-like games. Things are more toned, so that you barely have enough of time to deal with each enemy. A little bit similar to the samurai movies that inspired the developers. Because that's what Jin feels. Barely alive, barely in control, but moving forward nonetheless.